Drinking buddies. Today, we are going to be tackling everyday drinkers' list of top 10 dream bottles. So, if I can have any 10 bottles I want, all 10 are going to be bourbons. Let's dive right in.
I'm your drinking buddy.
All right, drinking buddies. So, in this scenario, I can have any 10 bottles I want. I don't know if I found some sort of magic lamp or some sort of a portal into the past where I can walk in and purchase these when they weren't so hard to find. Don't know the logistics. I just know that I can pick any 10 bottles I want, and we're going to begin with number 10, which is going to be E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. It'd be really cool to try E.H. Taylor, but at that higher proof point. I know it might end up being fairly similar to something like Stagg Jr. or maybe George T. Stagg, but it's just one that I want on the shelf here. It's just one I want. I do have a sample of it that I'll use in a video soon, but I've kind of been holding on to it because it's kind of a special sample. Next up is one that I have tried a couple times. I've featured it on the channel before in videos, but I've never actually owned one, and that's going to be Weller CYPB. So my number 9 is going to be Weller CYPB. Now this is a crowdsourced, what do you like about bourbon type thing where they ask people what they like and they put it into an algorithm, and what they came out with was Weller CYPB. I think it is underrated. People pay hundreds of dollars for it, and I know that's crazy, but some people like to trash on it because it's a lower proof. It's under 100 proof, but boy, is it tasty. For me personally, I think it smashes the single barrel, the full proof, the 12-year, all of them. CYPB is amazing. Next up, number 8. This one's kind of a soft spot in my heart, and it kind of hurts that I still haven't found one of these. I've been looking for 2 years for Russell's 13. I am the biggest Wild Turkey fan around, and it's kind of sad that the one release that they have every year that I really want to get, well, I suppose other than Master's Keep, is the Russell's 13, and I can't get it. But eventually I know one day I will, and I did get to taste a sample of it, so I can't complain too much. And the sample was really good, so I'm going to keep looking for it, but number 8, Russell's 13. Number 7, I'm going to go away from Buffalo Trace and Wild Turkey here, and I'm going to go with the 20-year release of the Four Roses Single Barrel Proof. I have a Single Barrel Proof here that's about 12 years old, and it is phenomenal. I would love to see what that tastes like dialed up to 20 years. I believe it's one that you can get at the distillery, so if I ever plan a trip to Kentucky, Four Roses will be on my list. Number 6, this is kind of a weird one, but not specifically any bottle in specific, but I would like to get a vintage Wild Turkey bottle. Now that could be something from the 70s, 80s, 90s, something like that, an older bottle of Wild Turkey, whether it be the 101 or the 81 or something from Wild Turkey that is vintage. I hear vintage bourbon can be a really unique experience because not only does it not taste exactly the same as it did back then, there's been changes, but also the longer it sits in the bottle, the more weird things are going to happen. A lot of the proof is going to dissolve away over time. That's going to be the angel share, even in the bottle, continues. Angel share is usually associated with the barrels, but it continues to evaporate as it sits in the bottle, and over time, some of that proof is going to go away, and what you're left with is just a really unique flavor that I've heard is fantastic, and turkey specifically is supposed to be really tasty in vintage. So number 7, a vintage turkey. Number 6, a vintage turkey. For number 5, sticking with turkey here, Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17-year bottled and bond. Now, I did try a sample of this. It's one of the best whiskeys I've ever tasted. A 17-year at 100 proof Wild Turkey. Please, just sign me up for that. Release more of that, because this was a Master's Keep from a few years ago, so it is gone. I know that, some people have held on to bottles and are selling them for a lot of money. So they are attainable. They are out there. I could buy it online, but it would be hundreds of dollars, and I'm not ready to do that. So number 4. I haven't mentioned the Pappy Van Winkle line yet, but you guys knew it was coming. Pappy 20. I've never tasted Pappy 20, but I've heard it's not as good as 15, which is why this is placing at number 4. But Pappy 20 is a bottle that I would sure love to own, have here up on the shelf, share with friends, put in blinds, but unfortunately, it generally is sold for thousands of dollars. The MSRP on the bottle is only about, I think, $250, but people buy it and then resell it, unfortunately. I will be entering some raffles this year. I will be entering some lotteries this year, so maybe I'll get a chance of getting that Pappy 20, and we will see. There's always a chance. But for number 3, I got to go with George T. Stagg. This is going to be one of the best pours I've ever had in my life. For the longest time, I would have called it the best pour I've had in my life, but I think number 2 and number 1 have passed it in my mind. But George T. Stagg, any year. Hopefully this one this year is obtainable-ish. They say they have more of the Pappy collection and more of the BTAC collection than they normally do, but what is more than nothing is one. That didn't make any sense. What is more than something unattainable? It's probably still unattainable. But Pappy 20, George T. Stagg, number 3 and number 4, give them to me. Number 2, going back to that weeded mash bill from Buffalo Trace, William LaRue Weller. This is one of the best pours I've ever had. I was shocked to find out that I liked it more than George T. Stagg, but I do. It's amazing. Barrel-proof Pappy Van Winkle. How is it not more sought after than it is? Fantastic pour. That's going to be my number 2. Yes. And number 1, the granddaddy of them all, Pappy Van Winkle 15-year. I think this is the bottle that I've probably been chasing the longest. As soon as I got into bourbon, people mentioned Pappy, and that immediately had me kick into gear of looking for Pappy. And every time I've ever tasted anything from the Van Winkle line, I have yet to be disappointed. Well, except for the 12-year, because it's just Weller 12. It's just Weller 12. They're the same proof. It's 90.1 proof. This is 90 proof. It's the same juice. So I guess there is one bottle that's disappointing, and that's going to be the Pappy 12. But all the other line is amazing, and I will definitely be trying to get all of those in the raffles coming up, and maybe I'll get lucky. Well, drinking buddies, that is my list, my top 10 unicorn bottles, my top 10 dream bottles. I got to challenge somebody else to make this list. So I thought of 4 great whiskey channels. I'd love to hear their lists. So Bourbon Bill, let's get your list going. Let's hear what your dream bottles are. Next up, Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. My neighbor here, he's up in, well, not here, but he's in Arizona, up in Phoenix, and would love to hear his list, see what bottles he would be on the absolute hunt for, his top 10 unicorns. Then we got the Bourbon Hutch, newer channel, great content, really great personality, and it's been really cool to watch his taste grow, because when he started his channel, he only had tasted a handful of bourbons and only owned a handful of bourbons, and you really got to watch his channel grow and watch his taste grow. And then last up, Whiskey Wars. Great content over there, Whiskey Wars, and I would like to see your list. All 4 channels. Hopefully you deliver us a great list here. Top 10 dream bottles. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And I'mYourDrinkingBuddy.com if you're looking for any merch.